This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Don't miss the Vikings draft party at US Bank Stadium, April 24th. You can catch all the first-round action all night long, and tickets are at Vikings.com/draft party. KFAN, your home for draft coverage, presented locally by Heating and Cooling 2. Go to heatcool2.com. That's heatcool2.com to book your service today.
Do you think I planned it where you get the big invite to come in studio as the Wild do indeed make it official? Don't have to worry about any other team. They get the job done. They not only get 1 point, they get 2 points last night. And it's all a setup to say we're going to try to pay homage to hockey, remind him that we do care about his game, and then we're going to leave you at the altar because we got an extra 10 minutes with a basketball guy, Tom Crean.
I waited in the parking lot because I know your clock management isn't great in the first place, but then I know once you get going with your little basketball, it's going to be hard to wedge in the hockey conversation. Yeah. So I get it. I've seen the totem pole. I know where we are. Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. It's fine.
That's good. But were you at all gobsmacked when Guardsy said, come on in?
100%.
This is the first time we've been in this studio together, correct? We've been at your studio.
I filled in for you guys.
That's true.
When you guys have been on one of your lavish vacations, so I've sat in that chair,
right.
But we've never done the old face-to-face, have me inside the studio. So I assume something's going to drop from the ceiling, something's going to come hit me over the head or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've never done this. This is fun.
By the way, Grant, you want to...
before we get started, okay. Kevin, I think we should give away our bonus bucks because we went so long with the great Tom Crean talking about the beautiful
basketball,
game that we kind of bled into the segment where we actually give money away. So we should do that because BigDeck.com is helping us with that. It's our national cash contest, and the second keyword today is win, W-I-N. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword win.
Okay, so I mentioned at the top of the show that... I felt like in watching the game last night, and I did watch it, that everybody's dauber was down. It did look like, okay, we might have other ways to get in, but we don't want to do that. We're going to lose at home to the Ducks. Come on. And that it couldn't have, in that regard, been any more dramatic the way it played out, the final 22 seconds of regulation.
Yeah, I mean, they were the better team. I mean, it's easy to say that. The Ducks weren't playing for anything. The Wild, they're supposed to be a top 8, a contender for a playoff spot. So, yeah, they should be the better team. But they played like it. They weren't getting rewarded. They hit the pipe 3 times early on in that hockey game. Dostal made some big saves late, and the Wild just couldn't get it past them. But, man, it was like the air came out of the blue. And once Eck was at the back post, finally bats at home. 20.1 seconds left to go in regulation. And then you know that you're good to go. Then all bets are off. You know you're in the playoffs, and then they went and got the other 2. They've had 4 wins in their last 5 games. All 4 wins have been in overtime. It's been unbelievable. It's been an unbelievable ride, the way they've gutted this thing out, and now they got the varsity lineup for the first time since November.
There were some good, obviously the game was on the fan, but you can't see the audience. You can hear the audience in the fan. You can see the audience, the TV broadcast, and I love the shots they did, because it did feel like there was some legitimate excitement, joy, perhaps relief from that crowd going, oh, my God, they're actually doing it. We don't have to worry about any other score or pay attention to who's beating who. It's done.
I tell you, if they lose in regulation last night, it's white knuckle, because now you're counting on other teams where you've
lost control.
Got destiny in your own hands.
Yes.
Just take care of business. You forego that if that 20.1 seconds elapse off the clock and you lose in regulation, then you got to hope for the Calgary Flames, which, by the way, ended up winning last night, which was ridiculous.
Yes.
They were down 3-1 after one.
Yes.
And they came all the way back and ended up winning that thing in the shootout. So that goes right down to the way. And we already knew that St. Louis had beaten off the doors of the Utah Hockey Club. So you're really putting yourself in a meat grinder if that game goes past regulation and you come away with 0 points. Happily, that didn't happen. Everyone had a chance. And it set up for such a cool overtime experience to have Philip Gustafson go to John Hines and say, why not put Marc-Andre Fleury in? They put him in. The fans realize it. We realize it on the broadcast. I'm sure TV did a great job with it as well. And it was a cool moment. And none of that happens if we don't get past regulation with at least a point.
Did Guerin and Heinze, did they run it by you ahead of time that if we can, we're going to get Flower back out there on the ice? I assume that you got to sign off on stuff like that.
Nobody I love it. This is not an exaggeration. I find out things as the fans do, which seems weird. You'd think I'd have an inside track,
yes,
but I don't.
Not trustworthy.
No, apparently.
Are you a sieve? Is that right? Is that the problem? That you can't keep your mouth shut?
No, I have no one to talk to. Who am I going to tell?
It's kind of a lonely existence in that studio, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah,
it can be. I tell you what, we have a great group, and it's our own little family. And I know with TV, they've got 50 people, and Gargi knows what it's like. I mean, it becomes your own little Gilligan's Island, and it is awesome though, because we got Joe, we got Tom. Prior to Joe, it was Bob,
right.
And then we've had a handful of folks go through there, including the great Zach Halverson, and we become reliant upon each other, and that's radio in a nutshell.
Texter, this is looks like 651 guy. This is the sports talk radio equivalent of Richard Nixon's state visit to China in 1972. That's a dated reference. But
is
it's
it
a good
reference? I'm not a big political guy.
No, it's a good one.
Is it a shot at me?
No, it's basically it's a shot at both of us. It's a shot of that there's this sort of disconnect that seemed unbridgeable that in that case took place when Nixon, arch enemy of China, took the visit. So
am I Nixon or China in this text exchange?
Good question. I think you're probably more Nixon. I'm probably China. I'm not sure. It's possible. There's already, though, some bitterness here from people saying, how do you come out flat with everything on the line? Did we come out flat?
I didn't think so. I didn't think they came out flat at all. I actually thought they played well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. And the worst part is it happened in the game prior to against Vancouver. So, I mean, I'll tell you, it's a weird game, man. And it's hard to say this is how this team is because we haven't seen this full team since before Christmas, since November. And at that point, they were number one in the National Hockey League. Now, it's been chipped away about quite a bit. The pieces are falling off that glacier as the season went along, and you're without Jules Eriksson, you're without Kirill Kaprizov, Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin, Jake Middleton. Go right down the list. They chipped away at it in a big way, but give them credit. Give John Hines credit. Give the guys who were available credit. They scrambled their way into the top 8, and I thought going into this year, there's no way that they wouldn't be considered a playoff contender. Now they proved it, and they did it despite the fact they went through a whole lot of adversity.
So when you were just a little tiny Falness, okay,
that's going back a long ways.
That's not meant as an editorial statement in that regard.
Yeah,
like just a toddler, just a kid.
Yeah.
Was hockey always the game for you? Was there something about the game of hockey that you said, this is the one for me?
I don't know why, but yeah, it always has been.
Did you get cut from a basketball team? Is that why you hate basketball so much?
No, basketball, you know what, and I dodged some bullets here. I've got 3 young kids, and none of them have shown any inclination towards basketball. Maybe that's because of me.
Well, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, you look down on the game.
I don't look down on the game, but I'm glad. I'd rather hear the sound of ice than squeaky shoes. And so I
must be nice to make that kind of money to raise multiple hockey kids.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the beauty of St. Louis Park. I've got some inside tracks. But regardless, I don't know why. I've always been drawn to hockey, and even long story short, going from here to Denver, I ended up in a spot after interning at KFAN, working for the fan out there for a mutual acquaintance in the name of Tim Spence.
Tim Spence.
But when I moved there, I didn't know about the Quebec Nordique becoming the Colorado Avalanche. So I landed into a really nice gig where our station was carrying the Colorado Avalanche games in the heyday of the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, that was a damn good team they got from Quebec. Peter Forsberg, Joe Sakic, go right down the list. Then they added to it by adding names like Patrick Waugh Ottawa, and it's just incredible what I landed into there. And for whatever reason, hockey's always been my thing.
Man, they're setting it up for you here. I mean, there's a couple different ways you can go during these segments, but it's up to you. For example, Jacob in Maple Grove. Why does Falness believe the Timberwolves don't catch heat for finishing 6th in the West, but the Wild do, and they finished only one spot lower? Go ahead. Hanging curveball for the hockey guy.
Well, why are we comparing the Timberwolves to the Minnesota Wild, first of all?
There's the defensive hockey guy.
And
right
second of all, they made it to the playoffs. They had everything working against them over the course of this 82-game season. Again,
talk about the Wild.
About the Wild.
The injuries. Yeah.
I can't speak to what the Timberwolves have or have not done. I like following the Timberwolves. I'll follow their box scores, and if I can catch them on the television, I will. I prefer the pace of a hockey game. I just do. And I think for what the Wild accomplished this year, I think should be celebrated.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what the Wild are fighting, whether it's fair or not, is because there's been so little playoff success. Yep. It all gets bunched together.
I agree.
Even though it's separate. Because and so there's less willingness to give the benefit of the doubt, even though, as you say, the number we added it up, right? The number of games lost or in which your top two forwards are not available is stunning. Quite frankly,
half the season,
basically. Mm-hmm. And you say, well, what are we really laboring over regarding? Well, what's happened? What's going on here? For any team, quite frankly. But I think because there's not that equity built in, there's less willingness to give benefit of the doubt. The truth is the Wolves have been ripped around here forever. And, in fact, they have received heat from this season, their inconsistency early. But what changed last year? A playoff run. Yeah. And whether it should be connected, that's what ends up getting connected.
I totally get it. Look, the Wild are in the postseason for the 14th time in franchise history. They've also made it 11 of the last 13 seasons, but they haven't advanced in a decade. It's been since 2015 since they got out of the first round.
Which is crazy to me.
It is. It is. I mean, but look at the teams they've gone up against, especially when you talk about the Chicago Blackhawks in their heyday. I mean, some of the Wild's best teams went up against, some perennial all-star teams. When you look at Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, and the like. But that's not an excuse. This is a team that I know, if you think it drives Wild fans nuts that they haven't got out of the first round, I guarantee you go down to Craig Leopold's office and ask him how he feels about it. It drives him insane. But I think there's something to be said about what this team has been able to accomplish this year, getting into the playoffs. Yep. They put themselves in this position by eating those salaries, but not only were they had no margin for error when it came to their lineup. They didn't have $15 million they could go spend, and still they managed to figure out a way, despite the fact, well documented, who was missing from this lineup. Despite that, they managed to get into the top 8 in the Western Conference playoffs in a gauntlet field. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. The biggest thing for me when you go into the postseason in the National Hockey League, you got to have goaltending and you got to be healthy.
That's it.
Check both those boxes. And then it would be nice to get the special teams working and maybe score some goals, but you got to have goaltending, you got to have health, and right now they got both.
How often does Guerin yell at you? Does that happen? Are you like a pin cushion for him, a whipping boy for him, or not so much?
I am, and a lot of people can attest to this. I'm everyone's favorite punching bag. I bring a lot of it upon myself. And right now, I am in the target of one Bill Guerin every time I make eye contact with him. And
it's not your fault the team hasn't gotten out of the first round.
But your conversation with him the other day didn't help stem the tide. What did he say? I lost my fastball, and
second half of the year you haven't had it.
I know we had him on Beyond the Pond a couple months ago.
What was his objection to? What specifically? Or was he just playing?
All I said, we were playing the Islanders. I go, and it was going to be just the most benign segue into the start of the conversation. All right, Pat, we got Bill Guerin on the line, and now tonight the Wild take on the New York Islanders. Well, Billy, you remember playing there. Well, that doesn't really narrow it down because you played a lot of plays. Now he says I'm calling him a suitcase. That was not. He's like a U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's there yet. He will be if he's not. He's potential for the Hockey Hall of Fame. I couldn't have more respect for his career, honestly.
Well, what you said was factually correct, though.
It was.
It's undeniable.
And so then him and Pat gang up on me. I'm like, I'm not trying
to... smelled blood.
He very much did. So, and this is a good way to promote that Beyond the Pond this Saturday, Mr. Bill Guerin will join us again.
Awesome.
So we should have Guerin and Motzko.
The dynamics on Beyond the Pond are interesting to me because sometimes I sense that you and Micheletti, part of the bit is you guys got to go after each other. Trying to figure out how much of that's real, how much of that is the bit. And then there's times I think where Brett Blakemore gets everybody going. So let's get on the inside of Beyond the Pond here. It's a great opportunity to get to that.
Yeah, Micheletti and I think run hot and cold depending on the year and depending on how much FaceTime we've had. This year's been nice because he's been traveling a lot with his new Gopher gig. So I think we're in a good spot right now. Get back to me in about a month because I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So we're gonna have, and then you're right. The foil in the whole thing is Brett Blakemore, who's like a rube, a rube with a microphone.
Yes, he's dangerous.
He goes down every hot spot that every rube out there is taking, and he likes to pick that scab, and that gets Micheletti going, and then I could just sit back and watch those two bicker.
So
you
try to officiate, or do you just let them go?
I like to instigate when possible. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it is better when they go back and forth and I can just sit back and watch them take the heat.
Well, because I think Blakemore's the one guy who can get Russo going. Or one of them. Because he gets him going.
And
I think they've had to figure some stuff out.
They text each other. Every time you have him on, Brett will talk to him first.
Yes.
He's like, God, I got to do a show before I go on that show. And it's interesting.
You came here with a gift.
I did. Well, see, I was trying to soften the blow for both of you because I knew there was going to be a bunch of cheap shots. I thought maybe this would back it down a little. All
right, let's see what we got here. Look at this. My very own
there it
candle.
is.
This is lavender bergamot. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know French.
No idea.
British bright lavender, bergamot zest, vanilla bean, exclusively fragranced soy wax blend candle. Lovely.
That's after you stole all the candles.
It's a little flowery for me. I'm kind of a macho kind of a guy. Well, I mean, I'm Clogs guy, but I am candles too.
I don't know your taste. It was just a.
Is this one you got in the mail for free?
I can neither confirm or deny.
See, my gut tells me you're getting now all of the candles, and I'm getting none of them because of that whole controversy.
My name's listed first on the box. That's all I'll say.
Well,
there was more in the package though in the box.
There's more in here.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is exciting. Should have turned the cameras on. Should have had Halby turn the cameras on here to unveil.
We have a looks like a message. Oh, Tom Reed's gift certificate. Look at this. $50.
Wow. See?
That's outstanding.
Go have dinner on Tom Reed at Tom Reed's Hockey City Club.
Where is that?
Well, it's down in St. Paul. Good luck finding it.
Yeah,
you guys know where it's at.
What road do you take?
Yeah.
It's not 94, is it?
Yeah, you kind of have to take 94. And right 94? Now, that's not easy.
I hear that's not the best.
No.
Can you take back roads?
You can. If you consider 62 a back road.
Yeah, I've done that before. You take 494
if you consider that a back road.
Take River Road.
Does not include gratuity, it says. Does not include gratuity.
That's on you.
You'll have to get off your wallet and tip
as well. Very nice, outstanding. That's so. I'm disarmed now. Like I said,
good. That was the goal.
It worked. Well, I can work something back up.
I tried that with a little B too.
Did you?
I came in for program password and it didn't work. She still gave me the business.
You take a lot of abuse on program password. You have a good sense of humor about it.
Dan, I'm everyone's favorite punching bag.
Yeah, you've almost accepted that role.
Almost. It's either that or stop existing. Yeah.
All right, let's get our break in. We'll get caught up. We'll talk actually some more hockey. I do want to talk, believe it or not, about the matchup, which we still don't have the schedule set. But again, at least now we can. Well, it is. It's not even news for the Wild to make the playoffs. The news would be to just get out of round number 1. So we'll talk more about that. If you have texts or questions,
be nice
for Falness. You can be as vicious as you want.
No, don't do that.
64686 is the Bradshaw and Bryan.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
KFAN text line.
back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday, every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus bucks presented by BigDeck.com.
Believe it or not, it's Kevin Falness in studio with us.
I barely believe it.
As we continue to celebrate the Wild returning to the playoffs again. Did you say 11 out of the last 13?
Yeah. 14 total.
With a dramatic late tying goal, and then we win it very late as well.
Did you
in
say
overtime. I say we now. When things are going good, if you guys get swept, it'll be they again. It'll be those bums in St. Paul. No wonder I never get across on the other side of 94. A lot of good texts, though, are already coming in that I want to get to with you, and some of them are actually hockey related. I'm surprised there aren't more of these. Man, they're pouring in. They've come in so fast. I should have starred the one I was looking for. Oh, here it is. Here's our first of what I'm assuming will be about 4 dozen Zeev texts.
Yeah.
Can Falness confirm Zeev wouldn't have got caught in a line change on the second goal? That's Tom from Savage.
Yeah, I know. People are probably bitter about that. I get where they're coming from. I mean, if things would have broke differently, things would have been a whole lot different last night in game number 82. But they weren't. If they don't advance to the Frozen Four, he's in the Wild lineup. He's probably played a handful of games. If they clinch before last night, Fleury probably starts. Zeev Buium's in the lineup. Everyone has, honestly, you're going to see your fair share of Zeev Buium. His career is going to be long, and it's going to be awesome. It just now wasn't the right time.
Which I don't think should have even been controversial. I thought people were way too whiny about that.
We talked about it on Beyond the Pond, and Micheletti was hell-bent that he would be in the lineup for Game 82. The minute they had the opportunity, he'd jump in there just like Brock Faber, and you'd never get him out again. I was unsure, but that said, I'm not trying to say that I was right, he was wrong. It's just that this is the way it happened. If circumstances were different, Zeev Buium would have had 3 or 4 games by now. He would be a potential for the playoffs, and maybe still is. I still think that they know what they have with the top 7.
Right.
I think Zeev Buium gets in there if something starts going wrong, someone gets injured. That's a nice bullet in the holster too, a nice bullet in the chamber. If you need to go to that and pull in a Marc-Andre Fleury or a Zeev Buium, that's nice to know that you've got them waiting in the rafters.
Speaking of Buium questions, this is one from Anoka. Kyle writes, do you believe he could be a difference maker in the playoffs, power play, and who do you pair him with?
No, I don't think you see him unless, like I said, unless someone gets injured. I just don't. Could he be a difference maker? Yeah. He's also not had any professional experience. I mean, he hasn't even had practice with these guys yet. He'll skate for the first time in a full-blown practice tomorrow. So I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of it. I know that they are anxious to see him in action whenever that day comes, whether it's in the next month or next fall. But regardless, who they're going to pair him with, I don't know. He'd fit in with just about anyone on that blue line.
Scott from Oakdale says, can you ask Falness who he'd really like to see step up and try to give more to the team? So we know the big names that are back, but give me a couple other guys. You don't even have to be necessarily ripping them. Just say, okay, if this is going to go against a favored team, here's a couple guys that I view as we got to get some stuff from.
Well, you already know what you're going to get from Zuccarello and Kaprizov, for example, and you hope that Matt Boldy continues. He's had his dry spells this year, but that kid's been unbelievable. I mean, when you look back at the full body of work and not just take it in piecemeal, he's had 10-game winners now this season, 4 overtime winners. He scored the big one again last night. I would like to see him continue to develop and be a difference maker on this team along the lines of a Kirill Kaprizov. When you've got them both in the lineup, I mean, and especially if they're not on the same line, you got Kaprizov drawing some big matchups. You got Boldy drawing some big matchups. Another guy, I guess, would be Marco Rossi. He's been kind of non-existent down the stretch. He did have the overtime goal last week, one of 4 overtime goals in the last 9 days. But that's another guy that I think could provide a nice spark for this team and has to if they are able to limit 97-12.
When's the last time we've beaten Vegas?
2022. It's been a while. I actually went back and I heard you guys talking about it prior to the show. 0-5 in their last 5 matchups against the Vegas Golden Knights. So, yeah, it's been hit or miss. But they did. This has no bearing on this year, but in 2021 they did go 7 games. That was a whole different. I mean, it's a whole different world, a whole different set. In fact, Fleury was their goaltender, and the Wild had Cam Talbot. So, I mean, I don't know that has any real bearing on 2025, but I still think that. I don't think that they're going to run away with it. I don't think it's going to be a 4-game series. I don't think it'll be a 5-game series. I think for the Wild to get it done, they've got to figure out a way. They've got to get stellar goaltending. They got to play disciplined, and they got to get some timely goal scoring, which has been, really hard to find here lately.
Give me the Vegas scouting report. I mean, what, where, and how are they strong?
Jack Eichel, they're down they're big down the middle.
Wasn't there a time we were dreaming about getting him?
Yeah, that's why Pat Micheletti calls Brett Blakemore Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Because he was obsessed with getting Eichel. Micheletti said it's not going to happen. That was, I think, their first big disagreement, right?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I remember that now. You're right.
So Pat just calls him Jack. He doesn't call him Brett.
I'll fall on the sword on that one. Back when he was on Buffalo, before he made the move to Vegas, I didn't necessarily want him here either. I didn't like the stories I had heard about him. I didn't like what I assumed made him sound like a crybaby. I just didn't think that he had that winning gene. Man, I was so wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things. That might have been the most wrong I was wrongest on that one because he is a stud. He's an MVP candidate. He is to them what Kirill Kaprizov is to us, except that he's a centerman, which is incredibly important in this league. And winning faceoffs, a big body, scores timely goals, an MVP candidate. So that's the guy to watch for sure. But they've got all sorts of other. Their blue line is great. Pietrangelo. They've got Hanifin. Shea Theodore, the guy that was injured right at the Four Nations tournament, just a studly blue line, and their goaltender has Stanley Cup credentials in Aiden Hill. So, it's only a couple of years ago that the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. So, it isn't going to be easy. Going to T-Mobile Arena is a bastard too. That's a tough place to play and to be a visitor. So, but it's going to be fun, and I can't wait to get this thing going.
651 guy, would you ask Falness if we should apply some of the rules from his primitive sport to basketball? Should we allow basketball players to punch each other in the head and face?
No.
Sit out 5 minutes and then come back into the game?
No, they can't handle it.
That might have been from John Krasinski. I'm not sure. Could have been Jonny Athletic.
He likes to pile on, especially when the Wolves are doing well. That's when I get the John Krasinski tweet. He ignores hockey and me when they're struggling or going through a losing spell. I think he's probably got bigger fish to fry. But it might surprise you. I don't know what Louis' stance is on this. I'm kind of over the fighting thing. I don't like it as much.
Louis' been ahead of the curve on that for years. One of the reasons I respect him as an old school guy. He's bored with it.
Yeah, I'll never turn away from it when it's happening. But I think about it as it's happening. A lot of the times right now, they're punching each other in the helmets, which is ridiculous in the first place. Yeah. But when they do land those shots, man, I just think about the long-term effects. You saw the news on Chris Simon that, it turns out that he had CTE. Not that it would surprise anyone, but he ended up taking his own life. And that's just one of many stories in sports, let alone the National Hockey League. And that's why it's so hard to watch this fighting sometimes.
Well, to your point, because the discussion came up again with Louis yesterday, because today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it was Tuesday. Somebody was saying, well, who are we going to get who's going to defend our skill guys? Because we got to get somebody to do that. And what I love about Louis, he said, they got to defend themselves. You can't play it that way because in the playoffs, if you go down that road and commit that kind of penalty,
you're playing right into their hands.
Exactly.
First of all.
You're especially if you're going in at least the inferior team, you can't mess with that. You get even by beating them and not rising to that bait. And again, for an old school guy in so many ways, which Luigi is, on that stuff, I think he's been refreshing because he doesn't get it. I think he's just bored of that aspect of it. And he thinks it's actually counterproductive to a team doing what it wants to do, which is advance.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the Wild have to be disciplined. I mean, we know how troublesome their special teams have been all season long, including their penalty kill. And if you start giving Eichel and company, carte blanche on the power play, you're asking for trouble. And in a series, you're already going to be a massive underdog in.
That's it. How big an underdog are we, by the way? Do we know? I don't understand Vegas odds anyway, so it wouldn't mean anything.
I don't either.
But pretty prohibitive?
I'd assume so. Yeah. But the Wild are going to be underdogs no matter who they face. It didn't matter if it was going to be the Jets, if it ended up being the Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars. I mean, that's just the way of the world. That's the facts going into it. But again, that's what's beautiful about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Weird things happen every year. It never goes according to plan. You just don't know where the upset's going to come from. There's no reason to think that the Wild can't pull off a stunner if they get goaltending and they get the special teams and stay healthy.
Lord knows they're overdue. That's for sure. I'll tell you what. Let's get one more break in. We're going to get to some more. If you are confused by this voice, you know the voice. You say, well, it's not Beyond the Pond time. It's not Wild pregame.
Certainly not a Wild playoff game. Those drop at like 8:30.
That's also
just
true.
Like
Whole Man Road.
8:52.
It's Kevin Falness in studio with us today. It was the idea here, okay, you're always calling us out. We're all about basketball. All right, you celebrate the big playoff victory last night, or I should say regular season victory to clinch your playoff position. Let's call his bluff. Let's bring him in here. It worked out well for me because I got kind of a flowery candle, but it's a candle. Interesting scent. And some gift certificates. And the hockey rubes get a chance to pepper you with various questions. So let's get one more pause in, a little more time with Falness. Don't forget, Kessler will join us in studio to.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
On 5
Fan.
With a stick and a pair of blades on the ice we cut our teeth. We took our knocks in the penalty box. Yes!
Falness, did you craft this song?
I did not.
Oh,
I remember
the credit for it?
No, I remember the early versions of it. I've got an instrumental one. I've got an a cappella one. I think one by banjo probably.
I'd like to hear the instrumental.
I got all of them.
You got all of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send it over.
Kevin Falness is in studio with us, and we're going to the top of the hour. Top 5 at 5 yet to come. Kessler's in the house. He's going to join at 5:30. That will be quite an adventure.
Be nice to get to top 5 as you get a break from hockey.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's almost, we have
a lot of basketball to talk about in the top 5.
I'm overloading on hockey right now. I'll be honest with you. I mean, honest to God.
I love it.
But we do have, shockingly enough, we don't take a lot of calls on this show, but we do have a call I want to run by, too. Calm down.
I'm trying to think of which I'm being set up for here now.
John from St. Anthony, is that correct? John, you're on the fan. Welcome.
Yeah, that's right. Let everyone know that I was dragged into this unwittingly. I didn't want to be brought into this. I wanted Kevin Falness to have
his moment,
his time, to have his soak up the aura and the success that the Wild are enjoying right now. But I guess the public demanded that I join and celebrate with you, Falness. So congratulations. I'm very happy that things are going so well, that you guys sneaked into the playoffs, and that you're in studio with Barrero to celebrate such a momentous occasion.
It's pretty fantastic, and I'm just happy that the $100 I pay a year for The Athletic and theathletic.com goes at least some way to help subsidize some of your awesome writing.
You put a lot of food on the table. Dan is, I think, double subscribed.
Yes, Garzi and I are both double subscribed.
I got multiple accounts.
I can't get out of it. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's such a racket. Do you think you could have been any more patronizing regarding that, sneaking into the playoffs and patting on the head with it's so cute that the Wild made the postseason?
No, that it was completely genuine.
That was sincere?
Yeah, very sincere. All I want to do is I want to bring everyone into this playoff boat that I've been used to for the last 4 years.
Right.
And, hopefully they can go to the second round, maybe even the conference finals for once. I can tell from firsthand experience of covering a team that goes to the conference finals. It's a thrilling thing. And I know that it's been a very long time for Wild fans and for the people who cover that team to enjoy such a run. And I just really do hope that this is the year that it does happen.
You do know this is the state of hockey, right? As much as you love your basketball and your squeaky shoes and high-flying, whatever you call them, dunks, it is the state of hockey. You know this, right?
I've been told it. It's one of those things, though. Can you declare yourself the state of hockey? Like, is that a nickname that you can just bestow upon yourselves? I don't know if that's valid the way that it is right now.
Have you been to the state tournament? Go to the state tournament in March, John. Go and check out. Hey, how about the World Juniors? They're going to be here in December. The best kids in this world playing hockey at the age of 20 or younger, representing 10 countries from around the world. And the epicenter will be here in St. Paul and Minneapolis because why? They want to come here? Because it's the state of hockey.
It's a Little League tournament? Is that what it is?
Unbelievable. Hey, but in all honesty, Johnny, when is the last time you covered a hockey game at the X?
Oh, it was in my AP days,
okay.
And it was probably maybe a couple of years before I left because I definitely did phase out of Wild coverage toward the end of my AP time. So it's probably been 10 years. It's maybe the last. Oh, I bet you it was the last time the Wild had been out of the first round of the playoffs. I think that's when it was. 10 years ago.
What a beauty. We would love to see you down there again. You, Rosen, Dan, Guardsy, all of you guys are invited.
I'm at games constantly. You know that.
You are.
Would you let Jonny Athletic do a Let's Play Hockey, or is that a stretch?
Not my call.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be my vote either.
That's honest. Yeah, that's the answer.
Maybe that's what you need to turn it around, though.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a basketball.
Turn what around? They're in the
playoffs.
What do you mean turn it around? They've been an injured, beleaguered group. They've got into the top 8. They've done what they're supposed to do this year.
We're happy for them. It's really good. It's going to be awesome. Hey, but as you know, Falness, unlike basketball, where generally the better team wins.
Yep.
Hockey, anything can happen.
That's
So
true.
I can't wait to flip it on, watch it, and see if the Gus Bus can stand on his head, and you get a little bit of puck luck, and lo and behold, you're going through. I think it's real possible. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. I'm hoping for it as well because it is a lot more fun. Like we were talking about off the air, it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, I do.
The material.
All kidding aside, I do really, I really hope that it goes well because I know that all of the Minnesota sports fans have been tortured for too long.
Yep.
The Wolves gave a little bit of a taste last year. That was fun. And the euphoria around it, there's nothing like it. And so this would be a surprising kind of victory if they were able to do it. And there's nothing better than when it's unexpected success. And so if that happens, man, it would be a blast there. And maybe I would try and get over to the X and join Russo and Joe Smith and my Athletic compadres in the press box and soak that up. That would be super fun.
And let me say this, all kidding aside, I do read a lot of your stuff. And the subscription, I know it's exorbitant for a lot of people, $200, whatever it is. It's worth every penny,
sappy, isn't it, Guardsy?
I think it's worth every penny. I don't care that it's sometimes $2.50. With a discount, I can get it around $2.50. I think it's worth it. Every penny.
No.
Well, we really appreciate that, Falness, and every day I'm working to try and keep you staying subscribed. So I hope that continues.
There's the snark I was looking for. Johnny, when are you heading to Los Angeles, or can you say yet?
Heading Friday.
So
okay. Game 1 Saturday. We talked to Ant today. He looks locked in. Lot of tension, a lot of focus over there, and we're hearing a lot of chirping from the Laker fans. So it'll be a fun environment out there in crypto. And I'll be out there for a long time. I might have to pay California taxes, which is a little unfortunate with how long these games, how many games are in between days in between games. But we'll make the best of it.
Have you thought about saving the hotel money for the Athletic and just hanging at Kilborn's got the room to just let you hang at his place?
At his palatial estate, yes. Yeah. I'm waiting for the invitation to be extended. I didn't want to invite myself, Stan, but I am hoping that after game one, maybe after a Wolves win, he's feeling especially charitable and opens the doors to me, and I can crash at Casa de Kilby.
Perfect. All right, we'll be in touch. Thanks for checking in. Safe travels to Los Angeles.
Hey, thanks for having me, and I appreciate the welcome, that the hockey community always gives me.
Well,
really nice.
You've earned it, John. There's no question you've earned it. There's no doubt about that. Thanks, Johnny. That's John Krasinski of The Athletic, who just happened to check in.
Yeah, I knew the other shoe would drop at some point.
It had to drop at some point, did it not? All right, so any final words, Falness, of inspiration for Wild fans that are looking for some sense of hope in a series in which there ain't going to be very many experts picking the Wild to win?
I told you. I mean, things happen in hockey. Even the basketball guy knows that, and Johnny Krasinski. For me, if they get the goaltending, they stay healthy, and they figure out their special teams, I think they have a shot for sure. I don't think that they could pull an upset here would be monumental. This wouldn't be like 2003 when Andrew Brunette scored in Game 7 to send Patrick Waugh into retirement. If they beat the Vegas Golden Knights, it's not an upset of that magnitude. This is still a very good team, led by Kirill Kaprizov, who's healthy and getting healthier. Jules Eriksson, they've got goaltending, and they've got a Hall of Famer waiting in the wings should they need him.
Larry Mondello guy checks in, as you knew he inevitably would. He writes that, I know Falness is probably ecstatic. Hold on, let me scroll down. That the show bumped back with the Wild theme song, but he does realize that the only reason Guardsy played it is because it's one less song that he has to go back and edit out.
Yes.
That's a good point.
There's some truth to that, isn't there?
I didn't mind playing that one because I think we have the license for it.
We got the copyright on that, don't we? Or the license, as
we'll find out.
I'll give you the okay.
To pile on to fullness.
Okay.
This is a source who shall remain nameless, who you might know.
You're checking your phone and not your text machine. So
have the Wild hang a "We Made the Playoffs" banner right next to the number 9 Koivu banner. Love Koivu, but he totaled 711 points, hardly worth a retired jersey, let alone the only one. Shots fired.
I like how Mikko's still catching strays.
From a hockey fan.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. I don't know if I should even say it. I mean, in my opinion, it should have been a Ring of Honor, and then you wait with the. But that said, what Mikko Koivu did, if you're going to retire a number, he's the guy.
Yeah.
In the history of the 25 years of Minnesota Wild hockey, he's the one to this point that if you're going to retire one, that would be the guy. But I would have liked to have seen a Ring of Honor.
Well, not a bad idea. I hope you don't get in trouble for saying that.
I mean, and you know who else I'd put in there?
Bill Guerin.
Jacques Lemaire. Bill Guerin's a good answer, though. Jacques Lemaire. I was just going back, and the last time the Wild played Vegas, I had Jacques on, and I was listening. It's so stupid. We were talking about Game 7, and man, I just love that guy's voice.
I do, too. I can't get enough of Lemaire's voice. Yeah. I always thought, and I used to stand up even for his offense here. You get real...
you can
killing
say
the
whatever
game,
you want.
destroying the game. I'd take that guy 1,000,000 times.
100%.
Oh, my
and
God.
Just the best storyteller ever.
Unbelievably so. That's exactly it. And he broke little Danny Barreiro's heart. That phantom goal he got Game 7, was it late 60s against it was the Blackhawks, the Montreal Canadiens.
Wow.
Tony Esposito gave it up from like 80 feet. And the Blackhawks never recovered.
And the next day, you started watching the Bulls.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. Yeah. That wasn't my fault. They couldn't finish the job.
Another thing we can pin on Jacques.
Thanks for coming, Alice. This was fun.
Thanks for having me. I can't wait to chirp you probably on my way home.
Good luck for the playoffs. And Kevin Falness in studio with us. Kessler will join later this hour. Top 5 will include.
We'll get back to real sports to talk about the play-in games from last night. We'll review those, and we'll preview the big play-in games tonight.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, TalkSpace is here for you. Plus, TalkSpace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to TalkSpace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at TalkSpace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at TalkSpace.com.